see if we're okay, babe. All I wanna ask you is, I don't wanna push you farther away, no. I don't wanna play no games. I just wanna call, see if we're okay, babe. All I wanna ask you is, are you down for love? Are you up for someone to be together, be together? Babe, I want your love. I'll be the one you trust. You're all that matters, all that matters. I got feelings about you. Oh yeah, butterflies every time I'm with you. Oh yeah. I don't wanna push you farther away, no. I don't wanna play no games. I just wanna call, see if we're okay, babe. All I wanna ask you is, I don't wanna push you farther away, no. I don't wanna play no games. I just wanna call, see if we're okay, babe. All I wanna ask you is, are you down for love? Are you up for someone to be together, be together? Babe, I want your love. I'll be the one you trust. You're all that matters, all that matters. Are you down for love? Are you up for someone to be together, be together? Babe, I want your love, your love. I'll be the one you trust. You're all that matters, all that matters to me. Issues, I know I got issues. Hate you, then I miss you again. Selfish, I can be so selfish. Spend more time when meeting your friends. Please forgive my attitude. I want my cake and eat it too. But a little grace would be enough for me to prove that, baby, you the remedy. You're my mirror, I could finally see, bringing out the best in me. Yeah, I don't want no problems, but I know I got a lot of work to do. Baby, I'm not perfect, but I know I'm worth it, working out my issues with you, with you. Crutches, I be holding crutches, can't let go of any mistakes. Distant, sometimes I get distant, stay away as long as it takes. Forgive my attitude, I need my cake and eat it too. But a little time will be enough for me to prove that, baby, you the remedy. You're my mirror, I could finally see, bringing out the best in me. Yeah, I don't want no problems, but I know I got a lot of work to do. Baby, I'm not perfect, but I know I'm worth it, working out my issues with you, with you. My highs and my lows, it's part of being human. Can you weather the storm? I'm starting to believe you can, 'cause baby, you the remedy. You're my mirror, I could finally bringing out the best in me, yeah. I don't want these problems, I know I got a lot of work to do. Baby, I'm not perfect, but I know I'm worth it, working out my issues with you, with you. For a lifetime underneath the moonlight, 'cause I don't want us to go. No, I don't want us to go. Yeah, you could be my lifeline, you could be my sunshine in a world so full of pain. Can you make it go away? Used to be so sad that love was lost, but now it's here to stay. Yeah, I used to be uncomfortable, but look at me today. Never thought I'd find someone like you, someone to show the way. But now I know you're the answer to my prayer. You and me must be right. Something's in the air, I can feel it now. You and me must do something right. We can't get enough of us. You and me every night, aiming for the stars with the love so bright. You and me must do something right. Baby, I believe in us. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I'm sorry for the burden, sorry I was hurting, but my scars are almost healed. Yeah, my scars are almost healed. Yeah, I'm feeling like a child now. Everything's alright now, and it's all because of you. You made the flower in me bloom. Used to be afraid of everything, but now there's no more fear. Yeah, I used to let nobody in and hide my face with tears. Always thought of you as someone who can love someone like me, but I was wrong. Baby, now I believe. You and me must be right. Something's in the air, I can feel it now. You and me must do something right. We can't get enough of us. You and me every night, aiming for the stars with the love so bright. You and me must do something right. Baby, I believe in us. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. You and me must be right. Something's in the air, I can feel it now. You and me must do something right. We can't get enough of us. You and me every night, aiming for the stars with the love so bright. You and me must do something right. Baby, I believe in us. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. You know it's creeping up on me. This frostbite gets deep into my blood. not my fault.
It's not my fault.
You've been lying, saying that I took away your peace. Drowning by yourself, now you wanna blame me. Like you have no options. I ain't take your options.
Welcome, everybody.
I'm not the problem.
Getting ready to get started with Wife School. The mics are hot. Everybody can hear you.
You've been
Recording is up.
me.
You guys know I got the best music on YouTube. Nobody has a better playlist than Mr. Shannon.
Weird.
Girl, are you crazy?
Everybody be like, yeah, send me that MP3.
Crazy. I've been thinking lately.
Dan, how can you play this music?
It's you.
Dan has a license to play this music.
You stole your peace.
Shan knows the artists that sing these songs.
Baby, it's you.
We're gonna have a great discussion tonight.
We're
gonna get in and out. Everybody needs to learn how to be a good Kelly, I don't have you muted. Hold on. Hold on, Kelly. Oh, you're in the green room. That's why. Well, no, that's not why. Hold on.
What did you think?
Let Kelly, I don't have you muted.
You could say whatever and I would never hear. You've been flexing everywhere. Girl, look in the mirror. Man, you
I don't know,
so
Kelly.
dirty.
Do a restart and come back in.
You look so dirty.
It has you muted, but it doesn't say that I have. It says that you muted yourself. That's what the system is telling me. Cheryl is here. Cheryl got her hair down, y'all. Y'all gonna like Cheryl's hair.
Stole your peace, put it on me, but baby, it's you. Lie like a ride, but take your stuff back, baby, it's you. Control the weather.
All right, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it. Kelly, soon as we get in.
Shine, you can't change. Yeah.
We'll take it. Once we get out of the green room, we'll take a look at it.
Then I would
welcome
change
everybody. 50 seconds left. Cameras up. Another great discussion. Staff is in the classroom. The ladies are here to educate, teach, and show everybody everything that they need to hear. I will, Cheryl.
Baby, it's you.
We have new faculty in the house, y'all. Wonderful perspective. So you can have the best outcomes in your relationships. We do husband school on Tuesdays. We do wife school on Thursdays. We try to fix the problems in our community, mend these relationships, and get everybody back together. A lot of people out there saying that we're having a gender war. Are we having a gender war? That's what they're saying. People are fighting. Men are, in the black community particularly, you know, the men are fighting the girls and the girls is fighting the guys and can't nobody get along. We're here to fix that stuff, man. I got the best people. Listen, I know lots of people. The last time I counted, I stopped counting at 10,000. I know over 10,000 people, and that was damn near 10 years ago. I stopped counting at 10,000 people that I personally know. I know, which means I probably know around 20,000 people. And I got the best people to give you the best perspective on the best outcomes you're looking for in relationships. Welcome everybody to class. You have now entered the main lecture hall in the Department of Hard Knocks at Shannon Rawls University. Please have a seat, take out a pen and paper, and prepare to take notes. There's a lot to learn tonight, you guys. My name is Professor Shan, and I'd like to introduce to you my esteemed colleagues of the night. And we are in the building. We are in the building. Okay, Kelly, you're good. I don't know. Maybe it's because when you were in the green room, Kelly, it was treating you that way. Give me a mic check.
My mic sounds nice. Check
It
one.
does. It sounds perfect.
Hey,
It sounds
ladies.
perfect.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Good
ladies.
evening. Good evening.
Good afternoon.
Let me bring all the names up. Hold on one second. Professor Happy's here, Professor Lady K, Professor Cheryl, Professor Ivangal Q, Professor Danny, Professor Aisha, Professor Merlin, all the names. Now, I don't have Professor Cheryl's name. Let me fix
There's
that.
an echo.
Yeah, we're going to fix it. So, let's see. 1, 2. Cheryl, give me a mic check. Professor Cheryl, can you hear me? We can't hear you, Cheryl. I'm not getting. Is anybody hearing? It's funny because her levels are going up when she speaks, but I can't hear her. I can't hear it, Cheryl. There's a delay. Well, your video is perfect, Cheryl. You're in high definition, that's for sure, but there's no audio.
Your hair looks good, girl.
Hey, Professor Happy, give me a mic check.
Can you hear me? Check.
Loud and clear. Perfect. So everybody's good. Professor Cheryl, I need you. Okay, you'll be right back. Okay, we'll hold your spot. How you guys doing? Is everybody safe? You know, it's just the country is going crazy with this weather. Is everybody in Chicago? How is it in Chicago, Happy? You good?
Chicago, cool. We cool. It's a little cold. It's getting cold. Fall then decided to come on through. September decided not to stay. I don't really know how we're at the end of September. Like, I don't. Did
where
happen?
did the year go? Where did the
whole year go? But no, the weather is fine. We're officially in fall.
Cool.
The season has changed.
Island gal, you good over there? You live in tornado, but there's tornadoes happening in Texas, right?
Really? Oh, it is not happening near Houston, so I'm good.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
And then Professor Lady K, where are you located again?
Oh, I'm in DC, the nation's capital, baby.
Okay.
We're
so
all
you're
good.
good.
It's supposed to hit us by Saturday, but I'll be on a plane headed out. So.
I heard that. Other than that, has everybody had a good week? Any news? Anything exciting that anybody wants to talk about? Professor Aisha, Professor Danny. Nothing special this week?
I mean, last week we celebrated my husband's birthday. That was special to me. You know, we at wife school, so celebrate our husband. So that was special. But that's pretty much it. Got a chance to hang out with friends and family. It was good.
Okay, so here's the important question. What did your husband get for his birthday?
I knew it.
Okay, my husband wanted a custom hat, and I didn't want to mess it up. So he wanted a few sayings and his nickname and stuff. So I just got him like $100 gift card to get it himself to get it done. So I don't pick the wrong font. I don't get this. I don't get that. We did dinner. You know, dinner is basic. That's not really the gift, but yeah, the gift was the gift card because that's what he really wanted. If I could have found a PS5, listen, I'm on the hunt for a PS5, baby. If you know somebody, tell me. I'm right here in Cali. Okay.
All right. So here's the thing. How long has your husband wanted a PS5?
Well, we've been discussing it since it came out, but we decided we had some other obligations that we wanted to make sure we took care of.
Because they were expensive. They're going for $1,000, even though
and that's not it. They're in Best Buy for $4.99 when you catch them. I'm not paying $1,000 to nobody. So let me say that. I don't think it's worth that.
Okay. All right. I dig that. And then he said he wanted a custom hat. Now, let me just ask you, because here's the thing. When women, this is just my personal opinion, when you guys give us money based on us wanting something, we could have, if we got money, I got $100. I could carve out $100. You giving me a gift card to go get something that I asked you, or I told you, or I mentioned, or I said during pillow talk, or I said while we was riding in the car that day. I got $100 to go get this hat myself. I'm just telling you how I think and how I think most men think.
Yeah.
This is not by all means not a blanket statement,
Yeah.
but if I get a card and the card got $100 and say, you know what, baby, I didn't want to mess up what you wanted. I didn't want to screw it up because I didn't know the font that you wanted to put on that hat. I didn't know the size. I may have got a 7 5/8 and you really wear a 7 3/4. I may have got a curved bill instead of a flat bill. I'm not sure, and I didn't want to screw it up. So here's the money. You go do it. You just gave me you just gave me a chore.
No. It's not a chore. Because I'm the same way I took him there. I showed him the options. We looked at different things. I'm going to take care of getting there and doing it all. I'm not putting it on him because if it was on him, he would have had it already, right? And so because he hasn't taken the time or used the money to do it, I just know that that's something I can do.
Nice.
I mean, there was yeah.
Okay, nice.
And he did say, let me tell you though, because when he opened up the card and he seen it, he said, oh, I'm kind of glad you didn't get the hat because I wanted to tell you I didn't want this and this written on it like I had originally said. He's like, so I know you really wanted to do it, but I'm glad you didn't. So, I know my husband. Okay.
Did he say that before or after you gave him the gift card?
He said that after. He was like, I wanted to tell you today, but I didn't want you to feel bad if you had already bought it. So now that I open this, I can tell you.
Let me tell you something.
Don't even move on. That's not the topic of the night. Stay on topic, Shannon. Stay on topic. You asked the first question. He
said it after.
We're not digging.
He said, okay, I'm not gonna dig on you, Professor Aisha. That's not the topic, and you are not a student, you are a professor. So we'll talk about it after. We'll talk about it later. There's always things because we're gonna have a show. We're gonna have a show about gifts. We are absolutely going to have a show. We're going to talk about Valentine's Day. We're going to talk about Father's Day versus Mother's Day. We're going to talk about Christmas. We're going to talk about socks and ties versus diamond earrings. We're going to have those discussions, ladies. So be ready for that. I appreciate you guys being here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Wife School. What is Wife School for those that's wondering? I see people slowly trickling in on the show. We do this show every Thursday evening. We also do Husband School on Tuesdays right here on this channel. But tonight is Wife School. And what is Wife School? Well, the argument that a lot of people are having in the dating and mating space. Everybody has their corner in YouTube. Some people talk about food. Others talk about automobiles. Other people talk about aviation. Some people talk about unboxing or beauty tips or how to do your hair. Other guys talk about how to be masculine. We are in the dating and mating space and the entrepreneur space. I talk about the two ships, entrepreneurship and relationships. And I tend to be heavy on the relationships because that's where the audience tends to want more help. And so Wife School, a show that we started a little over a month ago, is on every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I have these wonderful professors to give you an array of perspectives. We have some people that are married. We have some people that are single. We have mothers. We have people that don't have children. But these women all know what they're talking about. And there's a lot of guys out there. There's a lot of men out there in the dating space that are saying women don't know how to be a wife. They want to be married. They want the marriage. But when they get married, they don't know what to do. And then next thing you know, we at the divorce court. 60% divorce rate in the Black community, 52% across the nation. 60%? That means right now, if you get married today, there's 6 out of 10 people that got married today is getting a divorce. Imagine that. Imagine if you were jumping out of an airplane and your parachute had a 60% chance of failing. Would you jump? Would you jump out of an airplane and you knew that 60% of the people that jump out die?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
That's a way to think about it. And I know it's kind of draconian, but that's the way to think about it. It's like, wow, would I go skydiving if I knew that 60% of the parachutes don't open? I wouldn't do it. If I knew that 60% of bungee cords broke every time somebody jumped off a bridge, I wouldn't do it. But here we are jumping into marriage like it ain't nothing when 60% of us, 6 out of 10, if there's a room full of 10 married people, 6 of them is going to the divorce court eventually. Well, we want to change that stat, and the ladies are giving the young ladies and the older ladies who have hard heads some perspective and game on these pressing questions that they may have and are too afraid to ask their mothers, too afraid to ask their aunties, don't know where to go. Welcome to Wife School. We appreciate you guys being here, and we have a pressing question for the night. We're only an hour long, so we'll have you in and have you out. Ladies, I'm glad you're here. I have a question for you. The question of the week. Should women in 2022 go to work, stay home, or work for her husband? We understand what it was like back in the day. Are you taking us back to the 50s? Today's a working women. We have choices. We can work. I don't need his money like I may have needed his money in 1920 when I wasn't even allowed to work. Women legally could not work in certain sectors. Today, equal rights. So should women go to work? What would you ladies advise? And I want to hear all the different perspectives, and I'm gonna hit you with some different scenarios. But let's just talk about it on the surface level, and we'll dive deeper afterwards. Should women today go to work, stay home, or should she work for her husband?
Stay home.
The floor is open. It's popcorn style. Anybody can jump in.
Well, I'll go first. I would say it's just on the husband, what his plan is and what he wants, right? He is the leader of the household. If he does not want me to work, and making sure that if I don't work, he's not paycheck to paycheck, especially if we have kids. So it depends on what state you're in and your income and your debt and everything in that nature. Now, my goal is not to really work, but I have a job that I can work from home. I barely do anything. But let's say if he does want me to work, I've set time to where I can work, have kids, and deal with the house and with him at the same time. So it really depends on what the husband is wanting. But if he doesn't want me to work, deuces to this job. But yeah.
Honestly, go ahead.
But Professor Kelly, I'm curious about what Island said. Are you saying that it's literally up to your husband if you go to work or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about
you?
What about what do you want to do?
At the end of the day.
No. What would you do if you had a choice?
If I had a choice and I had kids, I don't want to work.
Technically, you do have a choice, but
yeah, in today's society, I definitely believe being in your kids' environment, the household is very important in today's society. I don't want to depend on a nanny. I don't want to depend on daycare or the school system and any of that nature. So if I had a choice, I wouldn't work. But let's be honest, not a lot of men are making the income that's required for a 2-parent household. So if I do have to work, I don't mind. I have a stay-at-home job. So it's easy. But I'm not trying to work. I'm not trying to ask. I'm not trying to be like, hey, boss, I need to take 2 weeks off, or I need to go on a vacation. I need to ask the white man. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to sleep in later. So, yeah.
Go ahead, Professor Kelly. What were you going to say?
So I agree with parts of what Professor Allengal said. I do think that it depends on the status of the household, right? If you have young children, I honestly think that the wife should stay at home and pour into the children educationally, emotionally, to solidify and stabilize their foundation as they are growing up. The first 7 years are the most pivotal years of a child's life. So if it was in a utopian world, then I would absolutely want to work from home. I think that would be the best. But if you are like me and you are an empty nester, listen, it don't take but a couple of hours a week to keep the house clean and do things around the house. So if I had it my way, I would work for my husband if he owned a business. But if he was a W-2 earner, more than likely I would go to work no matter how much money he makes, simply because I enjoy working in the field that I work in. And so either I would be working or I would be operating my own business. Either way, whether I am a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home wife or not, I am going to be doing something that is going to be generating income for the household. And whether that means doing that from the home or going to work, it all depends on where my husband is with that and how he feels about it. But I am not the woman that would just be in the house all day. Yeah, no, we can pay people to do certain things in the home. But I need to be able to do something that's going to generate some income and to be able to expand my knowledge, my intellect. So yeah, I'm a bit of a mixed bag on this one, but it just depends on the phase of life.
Lady K, and without influencing anybody else's answer, Lady K, real quick, what if he doesn't want you to? And he's a W-2 earner, but he makes a significant amount of money to provide the lifestyle you want. You guys can travel when you want. You can buy whatever car you want. You don't ain't no cutoff bills coming. But he just doesn't want you going to work for somebody else.
Right, that's fine. I can own my own business. I can work my own coaching company, right? So I can do, again, it's income generating activity. It doesn't necessarily have to be going to work for another person. I can work for myself.
But then what happens when you're offered, because of your education and experience, you're offered a position at a firm that's going to double the money that you'd make starting off on your own business. You can do your own business, but say that only generates you, let's say, $4,000 a month. Right. And then this job is offering you a job that's going to give you $8,000 a month, $96,000 a year. But your husband doesn't want you to work. What do you do?
I'm not going to work. A job is not the main thing, right? My hat is not hung on having a job. It just depends on what the goals are, what the vision is of the family, what he desires, what purpose I'm helping him to cultivate and to expand and pursue. So if me working a job does not fit into that, then I just don't work. That doesn't mean that it's permanent, right? This is not something that if I say this today, then this is law until we die. No, it's just for right now. So yeah, whatever he needs, I'm here. I'm his helpmate. So if that means me not working, then that's what it is.
Understood. Go ahead, Professor Aisha. I see you got a lot to say.
She over there antsy. She dancing in the
chair.
No.
I just love hearing everybody's opinion. You know, I'm a little bit more animated, so I listen animated. I talk a little bit more animated. So don't take it wrong, y'all. Just be like, yeah, okay, girl, yeah. So I watched Husband School. I have to say, I did watch Husband School, and I did listen to the commentary. It was something. It was something, baby. Okay. Definitely go back and watch Husband School because this topic there was awesome. But it got me thinking really about how I feel, and I'm a little bit of a mixed bag. So I'm gonna say that now, you know, before we I'm a little bit of a mixed bag. Personally, right now in my life, I think the most ideal situation is to work from home, to have flexibility of your time, of your lifestyle. I absolutely agree with both the ladies. Stay at home and work, but make money as well. You know, make money as well. But that's not the reality of every situation. So, you know, I work full time, and I technically, he is my boss. So I report to him. And while that may seem a little bit more ideal, ladies, think about who you guys are. Think about how it would feel to work for your husband all day and still be his wife and be a good wife. You know what I mean? Attend to the home and attend to the needs and still be, you know, a working person. So I think sometimes people think, oh, well, if I work for my husband, I don't have to, you know, I'll have a lot more flexibility. I don't have to do much. Well, no, like you still are going to have to balance working and being a wife and, you know, and being a mother. If you have children, I don't have children yet. So right now it's really about trying to figure out the balance between maintaining our household and being my best self and being a good employee. You know what I mean? So it's a lot to, and I would hate for anybody to go in there thinking that it was just going to be some easy task or just because we say, oh yeah, you should work from home or oh, you should make money. It's still difficult. You know, really think about that and think about what works best for your guys' situation. Right now it works best for two people to work. So like, you know, I said a couple weeks ago, it's all money in for us. We have goals, we have dreams, we have things we're working towards. That just doubling up on the money and the income is awesome, whether we can live off one or not. You know, doubling up on it right now is just best for us, and the kind of lifestyle that we want to live and give to our future children. But yeah, my husband knows. Listen, as soon as I start making enough money to cover how much I make at work, I'm out, baby. If I can match the amount that I make working for somebody else, baby, we at home. We at home. I can't wait.
Well,
So,
being 3
you know,
years married so far, Aisha, what does your husband actually want in an ideal world? Does he like the fact that you work in the workforce right now?
I think that it's not that I don't think it's a like or a dislike. I think that knowing that it creates a more tired me and then maybe a little bit more of a frustrated me, that's the part that he does not like. No man wants to see his wife drained and tired and not able to give their best self. So I just, that's what I think. But I don't know. I have to ask him. Right now we happy because we're like, we don't have what we want yet. So we're happy to be working. We're thankful, because in today's economy, we could really be struggling, and we're not. And so I'm very grateful for that.
Okay. Professor Cheryl. 13 years in the game. Oh, did we do your mic check on your Cheryl? Are you good?
Yeah, I switched over to the computer, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're loud and clear now. Okay, go ahead.
You know, I think I've shared before that when my 13-year-old son was born, I stopped working, and pretty much I was juggling already a full-time job, and I was also had my own business, and so when he was born, I quit my job and I was just working from home. So I've been home. I was home for 11 years, but I was always working at home as well too. And so just looking at the Proverbs 31 wife, she worked from home, but she worked. She was up sewing clothes, buying land, just doing a lot of things, but she did it from home. So, absolutely, if that's a possibility, I know that two-parent incomes is a necessity in some parts. So, especially like in California and stuff, it's really difficult to maintain a household, especially with kids. But if it's possible, definitely, I absolutely would recommend to stay home.
So it's almost like a consensus here. Professor Merlin,
Hello.
how are you?
Hello, everyone. Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Good to have you here. So listen,
Thank
Professor
you.
Merlin, you are a working actress out here in Hollywood. In the event that you got into your ideal marriage situation and your husband made goo gobs of money, you do not have to do anything if you don't want to. What would you do, and what would you recommend young ladies in that same situation to do?
Well, listen, I am divorced, and I actually had a situation like that with my ex-husband. He made a lot of money, and his money was our money. My money was my money.
That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show, y'all.
But
We did that show, girl. We did that
Y'all
one.
catch Professor Hales? Do you see Professor Sir Hales' face? That's a whole. I saw that, Professor Hales.
So my perspective is probably going to be a little bit different because I had the experience already.
Well, that's what we want to hear.
And so he was very, but he was the one that had already said, like, he didn't even know what I made. He didn't know anything. He didn't know what I had in my bank account. Like, my money was irrelevant to him. He could care less. And I would say this. I did like the freedom of it because it allowed me, and I'm an entrepreneur by heart. Like, it doesn't matter like what situation I'm in, I'm always be trying to do some type of business or do something of that sort. But I would say I'm a little bit traditional. So that's what sparked my interest with him, because he always spoke like that. He was African, so I don't know if that, something.
Don't worry about that. We got a super chat. Keep going.
Oh, okay. But I would say this, even if you have a situation where your husband is bringing, like if he's the breadwinner, it did feel good for me to still do like my thing. I opened up a salon, I did other business things like that, just to have your, because I think you still should have your own independence. But like I said, I'm a little bit traditional, so I do like the fact of the man taking charge, being the leader of the household, from the South. So I grew up seeing that a lot, and that's what I like. I like to be the woman in the relationship. I always joke around and say, they do more, we do less. Like that's just how I feel. But I for the young ladies, I think everything's a little bit different now. I think a lot of people are everybody's more independent and doing their thing. But I would say if you do have a man that makes more money, I still would say you still should have your own business, your own little nest, finances as well. But even I know that I want to be married again, and I was still going to a relationship the same way. I want my man to be the head of the household. Like I don't play that. Like I love that feeling. I love to feel like
so that was never a point of contention in your relation. We don't need to know why you got the divorce, but that was never an issue with your relationship. Him being the breadwinner, him saying, "Look, I got the money. I don't care about your money. Make what you make, whatever. I got all of this covered."
Never. And never I got an allowance every month.
And you got an allowance every year. You know, it's interesting you mentioned that because I think we spoke on the show about Tyrese and his recent divorce with his wife, and the reason why he ended up having to pay $10,000 in child support. You see, got the super chats coming in. Thank you, Belinda Lee, and thank you, Fatty. I'm gonna acknowledge you guys in just a second. We appreciate your support. Everybody in the chat, throw your ones up. We appreciate
Being
you.
number one isn't easy.
We were talking about Tyrese and his divorce with his most recent wife. So the child support calculator added up that Tyrese was only supposed to pay roughly $2,500 a month in child support in Georgia, in Atlanta. But because he had been giving his wife $10,000 a month in an allowance for 2.5 years that they were married, her lawyers, petitioned to the judge to increase the child support. Didn't call it an alimony, by the way, because he had a prenup that protected him from an alimony, but so that they kind of rolled it into the child support, and the judge went above and beyond on the child support and took it went above and beyond on the child support what he was supposed to pay, and added an additional $7,500. That's why she got the 10. So you were getting an allowance, but see, that's a trigger word, Professor Merlin. A lot of women don't want to hear about a man giving her no allowance. An
That's
allowance.
Right,
that feels. I ain't your child. I'm not. Who? Like, you ain't gonna give me no allowance. What do you say to that when women feel like they're losing their empowerment because their husband is giving them an allowance every month?
Not lose any empowerment, because at the same time he say the wrong things, because like I said, a lot of times people take me the wrong way, because like I said, I'm very traditional. So him getting felt like that was like degrading or anything like that. He made way more money than me, and so he gave me money to play with. That was not for me. I didn't have a problem doing what I needed to do as a wife. I feel like whoever you with, you just need to understand like what everyone's needs are. He was doing what he needed to do as far as he needed to do with finances. I was doing what I needed to do as far as whatever his needs were. That doesn't make me feel less than a woman or anything for me to have an allowance. Like I said, even though I say I'm traditional, at the same time I'm very independent as far as business wise. Because when I did divorce him, I didn't leave like with no money. A lot of people be in relationships, and a man that makes more money or the breadwinner or whatever, they live relationships and they don't have nothing. now women are starting to have their own and do their thing. But I just I just don't have a problem with a man doing what they need to do. I don't.
And you don't
I
suggest.
really feel comfortable when a man feels like they enjoy, and like my ex, he actually enjoyed taking care of me. It wasn't like a hindrance. It wasn't like it was stressful. He absolutely enjoyed doing it. And so that I enjoyed making him happy whatever he needed. That's not a problem for me. So I think a lot of things are changing, and that's fine. I'm not changing because I like how I move. And like I said, even in the next relationship I get in, I want to have that same type of dynamic. I just like the way that feels, and it could be my Southern upbringing. I don't know, but that's just what I like.
Got you. Okay, there's some chats. I'm seeing some questions coming in the chat. Fatty got a good one, and I'm gonna pose that question that Fatty has to Professor Lady K. But first, I want to hear from Professor Danny, and then to Professor Happy. Professor Danny, when you get married, do you feel that you would want to go out into the workforce? Do you feel that you'd like to be a stay-at-home wife, mother, and before the kids, stay-at-home wife? When the kids come, stay-at-home mother, and after the kids go off to college, still a stay-at-home wife? Or do you feel that you want to be part of the workforce in some capacity, or work for yourself?
Well, let me just say, I think a woman can do any of the three: go to work, stay home, or work for her husband, as long as she's doing. Can y'all hear me?
It's a little low.
No, it's a little low.
Is it better now?
Your volume is up, but it's low. I'm not sure why. You can just speak up, but it wasn't bad. So if you just project, we can hear.
Okay, so I think a woman can do, like, she can go to work, stay home, or work for her husband as long as she's doing what she needs to do for herself, her husband, and her kids. Let me just say that. But me personally, I think a woman should work with her husband, not for her husband. And when I say that, I mean, like, I don't think if he's like a CEO, she should be his like personal assistant. I think that's just a conflict of interest in itself. But if y'all are both CEOs, y'all are both together, y'all are working with each other on the same level, I think that's better. I think that's something that women should do, definitely, if that's what they want to do. But working under your husband, like I said, a personal assistant, and he's a CEO, I don't think that's something I would advise with other women. As far as me staying at home, I don't know, I have to see. My industry is kind of different. Like, I model full time, and I would still do it if I were married and if I had kids. But I'd also want to be with my kids, so I don't know. I'd have to figure that out. I don't know if I take them with me on gigs or something when I'm traveling, but yeah, I think I would definitely like now, like if my man was working with me on something, with my modeling, I would want him to like help me with my emails when he attends events with me. I want him to, give me advice on how I should speak to a potential client, like stuff like that. But I wouldn't want to, have him as my manager. Or maybe, I don't know. Like I would find some way to involve him, but not whereas it's like he's giving me my paycheck, because I might as well, like, he's giving me money at home, I might as well stay home. To me, that's what it is. So yeah, include him, but not work under him. That's what I'm trying to say.
So are you triggered?
Oh, sorry.
I think. Oh.
No, go ahead.
It's a delay. When women say I want to work
Danny,
for my
button.
husband, oh sorry,
Okay.
it's a delay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Island Gal. Then we'll go to Professor Aisha. Then I want to ask Professor Danny a question before we go to Happy. Go ahead, Island Gal.
When women say I want to work for my husband, it's not like the two CEOs of different companies or same company. It's okay, if my man's he has his own business, okay, I'm your assistant. I can schedule. I can do the little duties that you don't want to do or takes too much time. But let's say if I was in the industry of modeling or acting, or I would want my husband to be my manager, because you know what? If that's my husband, I trust him. I trust him to have my back regarding everything. But I'm not in the industry, so I can't really speak on that part. So I don't know. But regarding when women say that, I want to want to work for my husband, it's not like same company. It's more as, I could still be at home and still help him with the little duties that because we're probably more organized. We're probably attention to detail is probably up there compared to men. So it's the little task that he's not good at that I'm taking care of and taking charge of in that aspect. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Professor Aisha.
I was just gonna say, I think what I love the most about your answer, Professor Danny, is like it really gives into perspective where a lot of women are at right now, and that's because I've never experienced it, because I don't quite know. I'm not sure, and I'm not willing to give up everything in where I stand right now when I've never had any of that experience, right? Like I probably would have said I'd never work for my husband. That's out. And then experiencing it, I'm like, this is really hard. I think I hate it. It's like forcing my growth to go into overdrive. Like we're growing, baby. We're growing every day. And it's in overdrive because I'm reporting to him and I'm dealing with his style. But like, you really don't know what's going to work best for your household when you've never had a household. I feel like that's how I feel. And so I'm like, where I was at 4 years ago, even 5 years ago, when we were still in the talking and the planning stages, is very different than where I'm at now. Because although I would have said, oh, I can, picture that, 5 years ago, I knew we was never going to end up in the same company. You know what I mean? I was like, oh yeah, I can picture working for my husband, but I was like, we ain't gonna never work for the same company, so I can do that now. But yeah, girl, being honest about like what you're saying now as opposed to like what you're experiencing, I think that's what I really liked about that. Because I'm like, oh, that's so real. That was like me 5 years ago, trying to kind of work out what I thought was going to be best for me. But without experience, how do you know what's best for you?
Got it. I have a question.
But, I have a question too.
Go ahead.
But is it that we're working for our husbands or with our husbands? I think we have to kind of look at it like that more than for your husband. Because if we're in the same household, that's my husband and we're a union, we're working together. He's not my boss, I'm not his boss, and we're working together. So I think that's probably where we probably kind of missing the mark on that, because if he has a business, if he has a business, that's my business. It's kind of like we're working together, right?
Sort of depends, because I'm gonna hit you guys with some scenarios in a second.
Okay.
But I see what you're saying, Professor Merlin. You're like, whether I'm working as the secretary or as the CFO, doing all the money and counting and writing all the checks, or what, no matter how you slice it, whatever position I hold, it's still my company because I'm married to him.
Absolutely.
That's how I see what that you're saying. Are you basically saying let him call me what he wants and still half my shit?
Yeah, like for instance, because I'll give you an example. My ex, he had a clinic and I helped him with like his business, and even with a restaurant we had, I helped, but I never looked at him like he was my boss ever, because at the end of the day, our main focus was like for the household in general. I never ever felt like he was my boss ever.
Got it.
So I guess it's just, it's just, I don't know.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
I never felt like that, like I was working for my husband. I'm like, he working for me.
But if he's making the majority of the choices, he is a boss. I think some people get hung up on words. Like I wouldn't mind like playing, yeah, that's my boss. Like it's his company, even though we are married. I'm his little assistant. I don't even mind by those words or those terms. At the end of the day, we know it's his company, especially if he started the company before I entered his life, or if he's doing majority of the parts in the company. I wouldn't care if he was called a boss to me.
Or employer.
At the end of the day, all the money is going to the household. So I want it to be the best business that it could possibly be. So of course I'm gonna give, so I don't know.
Well, how do you feel, Professor Happy? And what would you advise the young ladies to? What kind of mindset would you prefer to see these young ladies have in 2022 that's thinking about getting married?
So I can't tell you what your mindset should be, but I can tell you what my mindset is. I think that relationships and people both have seasons. And I think that the season that you're in largely defines what it is that you do in that season. So there's a season where your children are very young, and I believe that the woman should be available to her children. She should be rearing the children. She should be nurturing the children. I breastfed. I had to breastfeed. I had to, there's so many different things. Like Professor K said earlier, those first 7 years of a child's life are so important, that in that season of a child's life, if you have gone into a marriage to build a legacy with someone, and obviously your children are a huge part of that legacy, you want them to get the best child rearing possible, then maybe, that season is for the wife to stay home. And that's her purpose in that season, because that's where it is that she's at. Now, the kids ain't gonna be young forever, and our purpose as human beings evolves. So, I mean, it's typically the same, but the place that we're at in developing that purpose changes, depending on the season. So your season may be that, what, at this point,
to the real world.
my purpose is to nurture the children. At this point, my goal and my purpose is to get the house together. Maybe we just bought a house and now we need to put the house together. But like Kelly said again earlier, I mean, once your house is together, how much housekeeping do you need to do every single day? It's just not a daily thing that needs to happen. So now, what is the purpose, my purpose, and what is my relationship's purpose? What is it that my husband needs? What is it that my family needs? And what is it that it is? What am I here to do? What am I purpose to do? And what season am I in to do whatever it is that I'm purposed to do? So I think that the question it has different answers depending on the season a woman is in her life and in her marriage. And I think that you kind of need to pick the partner that understands and is in alignment with your purpose, and whose purpose you're in alignment with as well. So relationships, you need skills. My skills are tailored to a certain kind of man. They're tailored to pretty much everybody, but is a certain kind of man is really going to capitalize off the skills that I have. And so whatever season we're in our relationship, that kind of will dictate if I should work in the house, if I should work out of the house, if I should work for my husband, whatever the case may be. That's just my personal opinion.
Professor Hale, have you heard anything that's rubs you wrong tonight? It seems like a mild night tonight.
About 67% of the things I heard tonight really affected me in some way.
We are not surprised, Professor Hill. We are not surprised.
How did you arrive at 67%, sir? What metrics? What qualifying metrics are you using to come up with this number?
No, it's good to see you, Shannon, and good to see all the beautiful ladies tonight. I just got a question. I think that a lot of our ladies struggle with pride, because if there's no issue with saying a boss outside of your marriage is your boss, writing your paycheck, there's no issue there. But when it comes to husbands, it's almost like I want the benefits of being the employee. I want the protections of that, but I don't want the responsibility and the burden of what comes with running the whole company
or the title.
And I think, and I think a lot of our ladies don't understand that when you marry a man, you are marrying a company. And you are always working for him, whether we like it or not, right? You're working for your husband. And I'm starting to see something that in this quest for independence and for, I've got my own skills, a lot of times women struggle with using those skills for her husband. And this is whether or not you get a job on the outside. You're still working for him and for your family. And I'm not sure what the disconnect is. I'm not sure why it's so hard for many women to be a wife and to want to be a wife and to love being a wife. It's almost like, I want to be a wife, but on my terms. And the hard truth is when you marry a man, it's on his terms. It's what that man needs. because you become a helpmeet to his life's purpose.
So, Professor Hale,
Wait, what was
I don't know if did you get that from what all of us said, or
Not all of you.
Because I agree.
67% of you.
67%.
67. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, because I fully agree. Like,
67% of you, not all of you.
It's 30% that he agreed with, though. Jay.
I'm in the 33.
33%
Got it.
y'all.
I'm in the 30. I'm in the Jesus percent. Got it. Okay, got it.
No, so the question, I guess, and I got a few really, and even one for you too, Professor Kelly. But let me work it backwards. Like Professor Danny, you said there's no way. What did I wrote it down? There's no way that you would be his employee. He would be your boss. Is it that you see a lot of women? You guys look at this whole marriage thing as this partnership. You know what? First thing came to mind was power couple, which doesn't work. That was sold to us by the Huxtables. That was sold to us back when we watched the Cosby Show, and we thought that there could be a doctor, husband, and a lawyer wife, and they'd raise this family dog, and everybody tried it, and that's where we are. That's one of the reasons why we are where we are now. What would be the issue with you working for your husband? Let's say, for instance, you are just good with money. Professor Danny, let's say you are good with money. You make sure bills are paid in advance. You know how to run that ledger. You understand profit and loss statements. When that money comes in, I mean, you are a better CFO, chief financial officer, than he could ever hire outside the company. Why don't you run the finances for the company, babe? Look, it's a small company. We only do $3 million a year. I need you to make sure that everything is covered, all the payroll, because you're really good at that. No matter how you slice it, you're still an employee. But you're saying that, oh no, I can't do that because I can't work for you. I cannot be your employee as the chief financial officer, and you being the chairman and CEO of this business that you built. I cannot be your chief financial officer because I don't like the title. Professor Danny?
I think you can. I think it was more so like when I was thinking I don't want to be his assistant and he be my boss in more of like a public setting. But when it's just like me and I'm doing his numbers, I can do that from home. And I guess you can be a personal assistant at home too, but I guess just in my mind, I was thinking like in an office space, that's very problematic to be a personal assistant, and it's open around other people and you got to be professional all the time. And you see other girls maybe flirting with your man. I think that can be problematic, but you're right. That's just on the outside. But I think if you're just his personal assistant and you're working at home and you're taking care of what he needs to do, like the finances and stuff, like you said, I think there's no problem with that.
And let me hit it with this, because see, here's the thing that I caught with that, Professor Danny. I think we're getting feedback, Professor Danny. Tap your mute. One, you're basically saying it's the optics of it. You know, I don't like how it looks on the outside. I don't want nobody to, we going somewhere. I don't want nobody saying, look at his, in the movie Color Purple, look at Celie. That's Albert's. What does he call Albert? That's his maid. I think it was something when they went to Harpo's juke joint. It was like, Miss Celie sitting there. That's Harpo's maid. And he over there looking at Suge Avery. And I get what you're saying. I want to look like I'm his wife. And when we go to the Christmas party, I don't want the other employees looking like, oh, you just his little gopher. I get the optics of it. But if that's what he needs, and he doesn't want anybody else close to him as a personal assistant, I don't know that should necessarily be looked at as a bad thing. If a man has the requirement of a personal assistant and he needs somebody to take care of things so he can optimize and be the best individual he can be, I'm not sure that it's a bad thing that his wife is his personal assistant, because why would anybody want anybody else to get that close to him? That's just a thought. That's one thought. The next thought, and I'm going to come straight to you, Kelly. I'm coming straight to you because I got a question from the chat to ask you too. The next thing is, Professor Danny, you mentioned that you would want your husband to be your manager because you are a model and you're in the entertainment, but you have to understand something. Your manager is your employee. Your manager is not your boss.
No, I said I
Your
don't.
manager works for you, but you have no problem. You had no problem laying it out and telling the world, I don't have a problem with him being my manager and doing it. Yeah, but you tell your manager, I'm not doing that job. Pick another job. I'm not going to that appointment. Pick another appointment. Your manager is your employee. Now, the thing is, would you have an issue? Well, I don't have to ask you that question. You wouldn't have an issue with your man being your employee, your manager. But it seemed like in the same breath, you had an issue with you being, say, for instance, his manager, if he needed one. So I just want to put that out there. If it's about the optics or the title, I guess people can rename titles, but would a woman want to work for her man in a position where he's a high functioning individual and he needs somebody to watch his back, to fill in the blanks? And if that's you, well, I don't want to, like Merlin is saying, well, you know what? He works for me, but does he really? Does he really work for you, Merlin? Or do you really work for him? And can you be replaced by a stranger? See, that's really the question. And if you could be replaced by a stranger in the capacity of generating money for the household, then technically you are an employee. But go ahead and let Professor Lady K. I know you had something.
Going back to what you were saying about the whole, do I want someone working that close to my husband? He'll just get a male assistant.
So let me jump right on in here. I am since 98, I have been an executive assistant to C-suite level or high-ranking military officers. Okay, and I did a piece on this probably about 10 years ago about the relationship between an EA and the executive that they support being a marriage. It is absolutely a marriage. As an EA, I have access to his social security number. I have access to all of his credit cards. I know where he lives. I got access to everything. Not only that, every detail. I'm running errands. I know his moods. I get to the point where I know when my executives are walking to a meeting versus when they're walking to go to the bathroom. That's how close in detail I pay attention and study the person that I'm working for. And they love me. Just recently, I had two of them fighting over me because one wants me to come back because he hasn't found a person that has EA'd like I have EA'd before, right? Versus the one that I'm with now. And I can literally name my number and they're going to pay it, right? So when you are a really, really good EA, you become a trusted advisor, you become a sounding board, you become a cheerleader, and these are all unwritten things, right? That you're doing, intangible things that you're doing for this person, in addition to making sure his finances are good. When stuff is about to go left and awry, I'm noticing it and telling him and saving him from catastrophe, whether it's financial or making sure that the employees are being heard and understand how to approach a situation, because everybody trusts his EA with the business because they know his EA is going to deliver the business back to him, right? So I don't want another woman having that level of access to my man if I do not have to allow that to happen. Now, to Danny's point, right, with the optics, if she is an actual employee of the company, it puts him in a position where he could potentially be sued for EEO complaints due to cronyism, favoritism in the workplace, because it's very difficult to delineate between personal and professional when it is dealing with a husband and a wife, because God forbid they had an argument the night before and then they got to come into the office and she's an employee. So I think that in those scenarios, if he is the executive, she can be his personal assistant, but she's just not a part of the company. She needs to still be like an appendage to him, a dotted line on the organizational chart. She does not need to be a part of the company so that the rest of the folks in the company can feel as if they are playing an equitably vital role in the company and that they're not overshadowed by the wife. So optics-wise, I completely understand, because when I go to the Christmas party, I want to go to the Christmas party as his wife, not as the secretary that's screwing the boss, right? So legally screwing, but screwing nonetheless. So I
Mm.
do think that there is something there when it comes to optics, but when I get married again, if my husband is an executive, you can go ahead and fire your EA boo because I got all of that covered. Okay.
Go ahead,
jump
Danny.
in too?
Yeah, I'll throw it to you right after Danny.
Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
don't know if my mic went out when I said I did not want my man to be my manager because I was like, but I said I don't know at first, but I really wouldn't because I was like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a
So you
conversation
wouldn't
because
want him
it's
working
an
for you.
emotional.
You don't want him working for. You don't want to work for him. You don't want. You're saying that's a Okay. All right. Go ahead.
No, because then he might make a decision based off what he feels, and it's probably not gonna be. It might not be the right decision for me, right? It's just I would want somebody that has no quote unquote like connections. Someone has no skin or ties to the game, so I would want somebody like that to work for me. Even though
Got
my
it.
man, I know someone else said I would love if my man was my manager because he would look out for me more. But at the end of the day, I see how it works when you bring somebody you're intimate with in this game and it doesn't turn out.
Well, that's the military. Hell, that's what happened with the with Uduco just the other. So companies have fraternization policies to make sure that nobody is screwing nobody. Sears had this when I was there. If you was a manager, you could. If you were a cashier, y'all could screw each other all day long. I didn't care. But the moment I promoted you to a supervisor, you had to break up. Why? Because you were in a position of power that you was gonna give your girlfriend 5 extra hours per week when you did your schedule. And I don't want you giving your girlfriend 5 extra hours per week because you know that she needs to cover that car note. Instead, you need to be impartial across all the employees. So what you're basically saying, Professor Danny, is when nobody's in charge of nobody, then nobody can have an issue. And that's what, I guess that speaks to what Professor Lady K was saying, because think about it. Now, what you are saying is that applies to corporations and publicly traded companies. Private companies in an at-will state, that doesn't care. So in California, that wouldn't matter. But I hear what you're saying, Professor Lady K. I know Professor Happy wanted to jump in, and then Professor Merlin, and then Island Gal. Go ahead, Happy. And then we're going to get ready to wrap it up, ladies.
What I heard when I heard Danny saying, I know that it got thrown in that she was talking about the optics, but what I heard was the power dynamic. I heard that, the way that marriage has evolved over time, especially in this country, is it's not so much, everything has an optical illusion to it. Everything has, we all care about the optics to some degree. But the reason that marriages fail is more so because of the power dynamic, because now individuality is pushed and because we see the importance of individuality. So it is important that you have your own individual purpose in this life that is not attached to nobody but God. And I think that where we get confused at is we think that our marriage is supposed to supplement us. It's supposed to be like something that, we're half and then we meet the other half of us. No, you're supposed to come into the any relationship completely whole with another whole person, and then you guys work together with the skills that each of you have to accomplish whatever your purposes are. And so the power dynamic is what I really hear the younger generation specifically, but it's because this is the generation coming up trying to figure it out. It's like, well, how do we correct and find balance within this power dynamic where one doesn't have more power than the other? My man, the issue with calling my man my boss is my man is not my boss. He's my man. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm working for him or with him, regardless of what the title is, I am working together for a common goal. So in the institution of relationships in general, I think that the issue that we have or are having is finding this balance and understanding that we're not fighting for power. We don't have to fight for power between each other. But if we come into a relationship where someone feels that they have to be more powerful than us in order for the relationship to work, then I think that that's where a lot of people falter. If you come in with your purpose and your skills and I come in with my purpose and my skills, then I can add to whatever it is that that you have, and you can add to whatever it is that I have. And there doesn't need to be this power struggle where I have to worry about, oh, if you're my boss, are you gonna try to like yell at me in front of people? Like, is that what's gonna happen? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be a power struggle, but I think that that's where we're at right now, where we feel the feeling surrounding marriage and relationships is that it's intrinsically this power struggle between men and women.
Got it. Go ahead,
Do you
Professor.
think women and men are equal in power when they're in relationships?
I don't believe that there is equanimity. I don't think there's equality in relationships at all. However, I do believe that I have skills that you don't have, and you have skills that I don't have, that are both necessary, and that, you know, I do think that there are roles as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't trying to take out the trash. I'm not trying to kill the spiders. I'm not trying to build the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not built for that physically. Like, I'm not built for it emotionally. I don't want to kill the bugs. Okay. Can I do it? Absolutely. Do I want to? Absolutely not. You know, so power is a very interesting word. And I think that when we speak in terms of love and relationships, we have to be very careful with our language and really say certain things. So power, equality, I don't know about all that. Do I think that we both come necessary? Absolutely. I'm very necessary to my husband's life, just like he is very necessary to mine.
So Happy, what you're describing is equity, right? So no, we're not equal, right? But there is there's an equitable balance of what each person brings, right? So yes,
Equity,
he's the
not
head of the
equality.
household, right? He's the head of the household, but what I bring to the household is not minuscule or minute, right? So no, there is no equality,
Or
but
can it be lived
absolutely there's
without
equity.
or replaced? Like, I
Right.
can't be replaced. Like Shan just said, the person that I'm for, you can't find nothing I got. That man can't find nothing I got in no other person. Like, what I bring to his life specifically is specifically for him, and it is something that without it he lacks. You know what I'm saying? It's not that he can't get it. It's not that he can't do it. It's just that he does lack without it. Just the same way that I lack without whatever it is that specifically he brings to my life. And I promise you, it's not just money, because baby, it's a whole lot of men with money, a whole lot of them. Okay. There's no shortage of men with money, even though we think that. And maybe in our community, maybe it's a little, maybe in my neighborhood. Oh man, let me stop talking so loud.
No, the percentage is very low.
But there's no lack of men. You know what I'm saying? And it's certainly not a lack of the right man for you.
Interesting. I think something you said, the problem with power and stuff, a lot of women want to be equal to men nowadays. They want the equal pay, they want the equal rights, they want all this. So it's, you know, you gotta know your place as a woman. You're not gonna be equal to a man in the household. He is the leader. So I think a lot of women nowadays,
that mindset lacks balance, though. You know what I'm saying? Like that mindset, I think that lacks balance. That mindset is where like the feminist movement came from. You know, like, oh, I can do anything a man can do. I know for good and damn well I can't do everything a man can do. Okay, that's not what I'm saying at all. However, there are certain things that I could do for a man that no one else in this world could do but me.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Listen, ladies, I want to get your final thoughts, and then we're gonna end it with Sir Hale. We're gonna do a spiral around. I'm gonna start with Professor Aisha and go up to go around the way. Here's the scenario, and I want you to give your closing thoughts with this answer. There's a 27-year-old woman. She works at Bank of America. She's a teller, right? She's making $19 an hour, and she's dating a guy who's 34 years old. He's a junior executive, and they're thinking about getting married. They don't have any children yet. He has a lot of ways to move up, but she could potentially become a banker and move up too. But she's currently just a teller, and he's a junior executive at JP Morgan Chase. The question to her is, and she's watching you guys right now, she wants to know, Should she work hard for her position and continue to work at that job? Should she pay attention to family life, and as soon as her husband can afford to cover everything, jump out of out of the rat race? Or should she jump out of the rat race but work for herself to potentially contribute to the household and still push her husband to become better? What do you think, Professor Aisha? Give that young lady some advice real quick.
You done loaded it up on me and then said go first. Okay. Young lady, my sister girl, leave that job and go home. If you feel like you can't be at home and like contribute and do something, like if you don't have something that you're doing and you absolutely hate being at home, stay at your job, of course. I just feel like one thing that I've noticed that I did not think was true for a very long period of time is that I'm more of a benefit inside of my household. I thought that was a lie. I'm much better with a spreadsheet and a calendar than I am with making sure the dishes get cleaned every night. Don't get me wrong. Like I love business. So being in an business environment, you know, I love that. But I just feel like something that I've learned recently is if the more I contribute at home, the better our life is, the better our communication is and everything else. So take into consideration how you can stay at home, still make money and work towards something, but really support your husband as much as you can. You know, as years go on, I'm gonna start figuring out more ways I can support and stay home. But you know, we want a house first.
Professor Eilingal Q. Professor Eilingal Q, what would you tell that young 27-year-old woman who's getting married? She's confused. She doesn't know. I mean, she got a job and they love her at Bank of America. She's good at it. But she's thinking about getting married to this guy. He's 32 and he's a junior exec over at JP Morgan Chase. What would you tell her to do?
Honestly, I would say talk to your husband about it. A lot of people regarding the choices they make, they only think about the now instead of the future, right? It's a lot of factors that take into consideration, like what are they wanting to achieve? How many kids are they wanting? Are they putting the kids in private school? What's his salary? What can be his potential salary? Right? It's so many factors that take in consideration that and what they're trying to achieve. Like, does she have an expensive lifestyle? Are they willing to lower their lifestyle? So honestly, it's based on what they decide as a whole and what they're wanting to achieve in the future to make that choice. Because I mean, being in the financial industry, like we see so many things regarding different salaries and lower incomes and how they're okay with 50K and 100K people are struggling. So I would say talk to your husband and plan out what the future would look like and what it is now and scale it out.
Cool. Professor Merlin, what would you advise that young 27-year-old girl who's thinking about getting married in the next 6 months?
Yeah, and I would agree with what she said. At the end of the day, you just want to be able to communicate with your husband and see what makes your household a happy household. And you just come up with that type of agreement. What I say, don't lose yourself in a marriage, but at the same time, don't lose yourself, but because in a marriage, you know, you have to consider, you know, your partner, whatever. But I just say what it boils down to is you just have to communicate and figure out what needs both parties need. That's what I believe.
Cool. Professor Happy, she's 27, he's 32, he's a junior exec, she's a teller at Bank of America. Both are rock solid. They can afford a condo, they can continue to work and make more money. But it's 2022. What would you tell her, Professor Happy?
I have to echo the sentiments of the ladies. You know, you have to, if you're considering a partnership, you have to consider what the partnership needs from you. So she has to communicate with this man that she's anticipating marrying and seeing what the vision is for them within the next 6 months to a year to 5 years. And based on, you know, whatever plan that they can come up with. Now, this is if this is her fiance. I got to add that caveat in. If this your boyfriend, says keep your job. Okay. If this your fiance and y'all got some dates upset, then y'all talk this through. But boyfriend,
I agree.
don't
But
go
did you
quit your
specify,
job,
Shannon? Did you
boyfriend.
specify as a boyfriend or this
Well,
is a
he's a
fiance?
no. He's a fiance. He's a fiance.
Uh,
They're getting married in
Okay,
6 months.
Okay,
They're getting
yeah.
married in 6 months.
all day long. Y'all make a plan, baby. Make a plan, and whatever he says right now, as long as it makes sense, y'all go for that.
Professor Danny, she's getting married. They've been dating for a couple years. They're taking it to the next level. There's no children. Nobody's pregnant. They're going to have children in the future. But he has a bright future ahead of him with JP Morgan. She has a bright future ahead of her with Bank of America. But they want to create a family. What would you imagine would be the best scenario for this young lady to get into when she gets married? What you think she should continue working for Bank of America and move on up? Do you think that she should just become a housewife? Do you think that she should start a business and contribute to the family that way and push her husband to move on up even faster?
I think she should continue working if she loves it. I think, like you said the people love her. She really loves that job. She should continue to do it. It's not about the money she's making. Like I think it's so crazy. Like I would have men offer. They're like, "Would you still model if I made all this money?" I'm like, yeah, because I love doing it. It's not about the money for me. Or if it was just about the money for me, I'd be doing a million other things that would make me more money, or at least be more consistent. Is more consistent with money. So yeah, if she loves it, she should do it. And I don't think a husband would ever ask a wife to do something she doesn't love. Now, obviously, she should still do it also while making sure she's taking care of her, doing what she needs and what her husband needs. But yeah, but if it's just a job, she just
Can she?
Me, no, she shouldn't.
Can she do both though? Can she be a good, loving mother, wife, while working at Bank of America 9 to 5 all week?
Yes, she can.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I know that wasn't my question, but yeah.
I love her. Yeah, she can.
Okay.
It is hard though. It's hard to balance
but
wife and mom job.
You make it work.
It's hard.
Hard doesn't mean impossible, because the reality of California is most households have 2 working parents, and that doesn't mean that the child lacks a whole lot. I see, I look at my nieces and nephews who adore both of their parents, but they have to work 9 to 5 to get by.
Yeah,
so
but see, the
a
wife
literal
does
9 to
not
5
have.
at a school and at a location. I just feel like maybe there's always more you could be getting, obviously, the more your parents at home, but that doesn't mean you're lacking, if that makes sense. I don't feel like it means that you're lacking anything.
There has to be then equity in the roles though. So I think what we're missing from the conversation too is like money is one thing, but roles is a whole nother thing. So
Exactly.
if he's making money, both making money, then we both need to be doing. Like everybody need to be doing the dishes, everybody need to be cooking, everybody need to be doing the laundry, everybody need to be taking the kids to school.
There lies the problem. See, because what happens? Because you're tired. Shit, you was out there, you behind that damn counter all day long, counting hundreds and cashing out people and cashing checks and shit. You're tired. Then you gotta fight through traffic to get home. Pick up the kids from daycare, one of y'all. And then read to the kids to make sure you're tired. Now, I know I'm not saying it's impossible. Professor Aisha. I'm just saying, is it ideal? I know what people do in California, but that's because they have to. What if they don't have to? Would they?
It's not ideal. And let me just say this.
I'm coming to you, Kelly, because I'm gonna ask the question. Let Professor Aisha land that question.
I think I cut out.
You guys are still here. Go ahead,
I was
Professor.
just gonna say, of course, it's not ideal. Never ideal to go to work, because who wants to work for someone else, answer to somebody else, be tired? Working isn't ideal in general unless you really work for yourself. That's just being honest. But I feel like it is still very possible. My dad is a very present dad. My dad is the dad who is there in the morning. You know, he changed to third shift so he could be there in the morning to take the kids to school, to pick them up from school, and be involved in the after school programs and the doctor's appointments and the dentist appointments. But that's just one household. But so I'm saying, like, it's very possible and to still do it. Do you lose sleep? Yeah. Is it ideal? No.
Okay. So, Professor Kelly, I want you to respond to that, and then I want you to answer that final question. Go ahead. Is she here? Oh, did we lose Professor? I think we lost Professor
Man, I
Kelly.
think she froze.
I'll come back to her. Professor Cheryl, she's 27. She's 27, and she has a good job. She has a solid job at Bank of America, and she's dating an older boy who's 32, and he's a junior exec. What do you suggest? And they're getting married. They're getting married. He proposed, right? And they don't have a lot of bills. Student loans are paid off. What would you suggest to the ladies that's watching you right now, that's in this situation or something similar to it? Should she continue to focus on that job? Because I mean, it's not she has a potential to move up at Bank of America. Or should she switch her focus to family life? Or should she switch her focus to entrepreneurship in supporting what her husband is doing? What would you suggest to her, Professor Cheryl?
I would always push towards entrepreneurship, finding ways that you can make money on your own. That way you can be your own boss, you make your own hours, you can invest as much time as you want right now while you don't have any children. And when you do have children, you can pull back or hire someone else, or just have that flexibility where you can still support your family, you can still support your husband, you can still pour into their lives, into your home, into yourself. I think, like, just going back again to the Proverbs 31 woman, she traded, she was a property owner. She also helped the community. She helped the poor and the needy. She was not idle, So I think the main thing is just to stay focused on what brings you joy, how you can perhaps profit off of that, and how you can still be there to support your home, your household, your husband, your family at the same time.
Professor Hale, give us the final word. Take us out.
I love what Professor Cheryl just said. I always encourage women who want to get married, if you got this scenario, ask yourself a question, an honest question. Do you want to be married, or do you want to be a wife? If you want to be married, you can manipulate that to be whatever you want it to be. But do you want to be that man's wife? And if you want to be that man's wife, are you willing to do what it takes to make that man happy? Answer that question honestly, and then go back to the men in your life and make sure that the man you want to be with can actually be the husband you need him to be. Do those two things, and I think you'll go in the right direction.
Sounds good. My thoughts: retire your wife, gentlemen. Ladies, if you can, find a man that can retire you. I am of the thought, I don't really understand the whole resting in your femininity. I kind of mentioned this on Husband School on Tuesday. But I do believe that men are charged with providing and protecting. In this case, we're talking about provision. I believe personally that men should, I don't believe in 50-50. I think men should cover it all. And I want to, and I didn't do this twice. I remember I'm twice married, twice divorced. 2 times I didn't do this. Both times I was of this power couple. You go out there and you hustle and I hustle, and you come home and you tell me how your day went and I tell you how my day went. That shit don't work. It don't work. I do not want an exhausted wife. I do not want a tired wife.
You better say that.
I do not want my wife back hurting from sitting in a shitty chair that because her boss won't upgrade. Go to Staples and buy her a better damn office chair. I do not want dings in my car from the employee parking lot at her job. I want my wife to be comfortable for her entire life. Young, middle-aged, and old. That's what I believe. And I believe that it's a charge upon men to be able to make that happen for his wife. Not his girlfriend, not his boo, not his side thing. His wife. Now, if that requires me to do more, then that's what I got to do. But I also want women to understand that you have to live within the lifestyle that I can afford. I want women to believe that they can live within the lifestyle of the man that they're dating can afford. Now, here's the rub. If my girl wants to work and it does not impact, affect, bother, shake up, fuck up, agitate what I got going on at home, if it does not hinder the education, nourishment, and development of my children, go get a job. Because I believe in fuck you money. What is fuck you money? I talked about this on Tuesday. Fuck you money is, I don't give a damn what your boss tells you. You could say fuck you to him anytime you want. You do not have to work because you have to work. You work because you want to work. I want women in America, all races, to work because they feel like working. They want to work, not because they have to work. My shoulders are built the way you guys should see me stand up. I'm built for pressure. I'm a strong dude, and I'm designed to go out there and hustle and make shit happen. My wife, she's the hallmark of beauty for my relationship. I need her to be pretty and dainty and gorgeous and beautiful and delicate, and I'm gonna protect her. And I'm gonna I'll get all the scuffs and scrapes. I don't want her out there putting on work gloves. That's just me. Now, if she wants to do something, fine, because she got a lot of spare time, go do it. I have no problem with that, as long as you're taking care of what's going on in the program of Rawls Enterprises. That's what I believe. I don't want a woman to work because she has to. I think those days, I think that was a trope that's been sold to women through Feminism 3 and 4.0. And you guys are telling that you can do it. You can do everything a man can do and go out there and work hard. And all they did was convince you to go into a workforce to be able to do what we do. And all they get is cheap labor. They double the employees and the available people to work. And now, they're going to try to convince you that you don't need me. No, fuck that. I reject that. I want my wife to be well rested all day long. I want my wife to pour into my kids so that I don't have to deal with my children having problems at school because we too tired to read a book at night. That's just me. This is what I suggest men and women should do. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much for tapping in to another episode of Wife School. I hope you learned something today. The serpent attacked relationships as his first attack in the book of Genesis. Don't just plan your wedding, plan your entire marriage, and marriage isn't enough. You need to be a wife. We'll see you next week. Please like and share the video. I appreciate you guys. Tune in next week, same time, same bat channel, to another episode of Wife School. Thank you so much, and we'll see you.
Thank y'all. That was good.
It was good.
Another one.
Another great
you
week.
got my husband's number? Because you don't think she should work. I like that,
Girl, you better send him the link to the show.
I don't need him to see what I said. I need him to just talk to Shannon. That's it. He's there.
You never feel the way I feel. You don't know if my love is real. Baby, listen to me, here's the deal. When you're not here, I'm not the same. I'm needing a new chapter, babe. Been stuck here in a bed for days. I've been staring at the telephone, cause when you're gone, I miss your face. Late o'clock, body talk, there's no need to bring it up. Nothing you say makes it better.